Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our Marketing for Manufacturers webinar series. My name is Carolyn, and I am with Midwest Manufacturers Association. And first of all, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Rice Companies, for sponsoring this webinar. We appreciate it very much. So I will do a brief introduction here, and then I'll turn it over. We have Julie Omi, VP Sales and Marketing with Aperture Labs, who's going to be talking with you guys about outcome-driven digital modernization, a practical approach to big wins minus the mayhem. I'll turn it over to Julie. Here you go.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you guys for joining today. Great to be here. Today's session is all about how to de-risk the process of modernizing or upgrading your digital ecosystem. Today, we're really talking about content management systems and digital commerce platforms, but these principles really can be applied to any upgrade you're looking to do within your digital ecosystem. So we're not talking about high-level concepts and theories full of buzzwords today. We're talking about very practical, actionable ways that you can approach digital modernization efforts to ensure that your organization is fully aligned, you're mitigating risk, and you're realizing high return on your investment. So as Carolyn mentioned, my name is Julie Omi. I'm with Aperture Labs. Aperture Labs is a digital consultancy that works with manufacturers to develop digital strategies, online customer experiences, digital ecosystems that drive revenue and customer engagement. I've personally been in the digital strategy, online customer experience space for over 20 years. So I think that in technology speak, that's since the olden days. I'm working on two screens today, so I'll try to keep looking at the camera here, but you'll see me kind of looking back and forth. If you've joined today's session, or you're listening to the recording at a later date, you've probably thought about the benefits your organization might realize if you modernized your content management system or your digital commerce platform. So we're going to first just take a look quickly at some of the pains that our clients often experience when they come to us and they're using outdated legacy systems. This isn't an exhaustive list, but some of the most common issues that we see. The first is slow time to market. So when it takes weeks to publish product updates, to launch a new SKU, build a campaign, you're losing sellable days. Promotions lose relevance too before they go live, and things are just too slow. We often also see customers, our clients, suffering from high maintenance burdens around legacy platforms. So that means that teams are spending their budget on just keeping the lights on instead of investing in new features. Integrations are time consuming, custom code is like tribal knowledge, everything slows down. You're kind of getting the theme here probably, right? Site performance is also an issue often we see. So, something as simple as website load time, that can do serious damage to the customer experience and conversion online. We're all consumers, right? We all shop online. It doesn't matter if we're talking about B2B or B2C, the effects are the same. If a page takes more than 1 second to load, people start to leave. You can see some of the metrics here. As every second ticks up, it's more people, exponentially more people are leaving, and it becomes really detrimental. And lastly, your customers are struggling to find what they're looking for. So, distributors are calling your reps instead of being able to order online, and users are abandoning their cart or their shopping experience because maybe product specs are missing, they're confusing, your support tickets are skyrocketing, or worse, they're just going to buy from your competitor because it's easier. And these are really all signals that it's time to modernize. And just, if you guys have questions at any point, feel free to jump in. You can put questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer them while we're going along. Don't be afraid to interrupt me. So we're going to talk about kind of the elephant in the room a little bit. Sometimes organizations that they know they want to modernize, they know they're sort of hamstrung by the systems that they have in place, but maybe they've experienced failure in the past and it makes people a little timid to jump into another initiative. So let's talk about why that happens. And like the pains on the last slide, the pains that we see of legacy systems, this is not an exhaustive list. These are just some of the main things that we tend to see. So things can fail because there's a gap between strategy and execution. Everyone agrees on the vision, but the execution falls apart. Teams aren't aligned. There aren't any shared goals. There isn't a unified cadence for making sure that everyone understands what's going on. And then progress stalls. Another reason that things don't go as planned is there's maybe an undefined roadmap. There's no clear timeline, no prioritization model, changing expectations. Teams can feel like they're chasing a moving target. And then lastly here, not lastly in all options, but lastly for our conversation today is lack of measurement and adoption. So even when the tech is live, there's no clear definition of success. So there's no one driving adoption, there's no one iterating on the initial wins, and the business feels like they aren't getting the value that they were initially promised. So recognizing these pitfalls is the first step to avoiding them. And we really want to give you in this session a path for, avoiding those pitfalls. Trying to move my screen forward. There we go. Okay, so where do you start? Often when a company concludes that they need to upgrade their CMS or their commerce platform, the first thing they do is evaluate technology. And this is really tempting because you're replacing a platform. It makes sense, but this is really where the danger begins. So the right way to approach modernization is to start with people first, assembling a cross-functional project team, then documenting that internal process. And only then do you really want to start that exploration around what is the appropriate technology and platforms that are going to support the goals that we've already established. So let's look at people first. Let's look at assembling your team. So you may be experiencing this. It's extremely common. Teams tend to be deeply siloed across an organization. You have engineering, product management, marketing, IT, sales, channel partners, you name it. And everybody really has a stake in the success of a digital modernization effort. So not every role here that I have listed is necessarily a different person. Sometimes there's a little bit of overlap, but the important thing is that assuring every responsibility here is accounted for as you're putting your team together. So you have an executive sponsor that's really providing that authority. They're securing funding, they're clearing obstacles for you. You have your program manager that really owns the project at the team level. They're going to oversee timeline and budget and risk management. The product owner sometimes overlaps with the program manager. This is the person that is going to define priorities and really define what it means to accept changes, updates, the project in general. And then you have a solution architect. This is really the IT lead, the development lead, the technical person. Now, when we're working with teams to build out these initiatives, the lead solution architect typically sits on our team, and then we collaborate and coordinate with the technical lead on the client side. And then you have change management. If you have been through one of these processes, you know how important this is. Change management can sometimes fall under the responsibility of the program manager, but this person is communicating across the organization so everyone is aligned and really ensuring that there's adoption across the entire organization. And then, of course, having representation across all of your relevant teams, having clear roles across cross-functionally ensures that alignment and strong direction. So process. You want to make sure you understand what you're trying to do, right? You want to make sure your milestones are defined and governance. The governance model is what keeps the effort on track, especially when there's sometimes dozens of different teams relying on a product catalog or content. Make sure you have an operational cadence that's going to guarantee that governance is in place before moving on, right, to the next stage. You want to have those gates. And then you have technology. So by waiting to look at technology until step 3, you're really preventing yourself from buying a platform that just looks great in a demo, but maybe doesn't fit your product complexity, your operations, your business model, and choosing the right platform is less about features and it's much more about fit. So you want to evaluate platforms based on the functional fit. Like, does this support the complexity of our product catalog? Technical compatibility. Does this integrate with the rest of our systems? You want to look at the total cost of ownership. Is this cost effective for us based on what we want to do? And then, vendor support, scalability. Just like your customers want to have support for the products they buy from you, you want to make sure that the technology vendor that you're working with is going to support you moving forward. And, when it comes to obviously documenting requirements, this is really important. This is what's going to drive your technology selection. We help clients run collaborative requirements workshops so that the evaluation is truly cross-functional, reduces risk, increases buy-in, all of that good stuff. So if anyone has any questions, happy to answer them now, or I can continue to move on. And I'm obviously going through really detailed topics that are, we're doing this at a high level. So, hopefully it piques your curiosity about how you could make this successful, and you have some questions we can follow up with later. So we're going to talk about the Safe Start roadmap. Now, the Safe Start roadmap is something that I like to really dig into because it helps you avoid analysis paralysis. It helps you deliver value quickly, right? We're not looking for a big bang implementation. We're looking for proving value quickly, building stakeholder confidence, and really a process that allows you to iron out the kinks before you scale. And that's really the modern way of upgrading your systems, right? So one of these things we'll get into the details here is what you see on the bottom of this slide, which is identifying the top 20% of your projects that deliver 80% of the value. We've probably all heard the 80-20 rule. It can apply to all different areas of our life, and it applies here too. So I'm going to walk through how you can prioritize what is going to give you the most value when it comes to figuring out where should we invest. We really want the high impact items to float to the top here. So the first thing we're going to do is identify the 20% initiatives that deliver 80% of the value. So you want to list everything here. You want to document everything, every improvement idea you have, every integration need you have, every workflow pain point, customer complaint, performance issue. This isn't the time to edit or filter. Get it all out. Figure out what hurts, right? And then the next you want to score for both the impact that it would have on your organization and the effort that it would take. So business impact, technical effort, what are the dependencies? What is the organizational readiness to actually take that effort on? And then this is where you start to identify, right? Now you know everything that you need to do. You know what the impact could potentially be. You know what the effort would look like. And now those opportunities start to rise to the top. So you're looking for something that's going to dramatically improve content velocity, customer experience, these big hit points without disrupting your core. And lastly, you want to document. So your roadmap should be simple, visual, shared broadly. At the end of the day, momentum for these initiatives die when people don't know what the plan is. And so what we're going to do next is look at what are some examples of initiatives that tend to qualify for the 80% of the value, 20% of the effort sort of category. So headless and modular platforms. So one of the main pains of legacy systems is their rigidity. Slows down work, causes delays. Headless and modular platforms, they decouple back-end systems from front-end systems and experiences. So when you untangle these systems, you can really realize a lot of benefits, like getting to market faster, opening up a new channel. You're not handcuffed by the rigidity of one system or another. Then we also have low code, no code authoring. So, we talked about how legacy systems can often make spinning up new web pages time consuming, painful, probably. And there's many tools out there that can be layered on top of legacy systems that empower marketing and merchandising teams to build landing pages, spin up promotions, localize content without needing the help of a developer. So those are pretty fun to work with. And then we have integrations, API first integrations. So any new platform that you would invest in now should for sure have, an API first integration strategy. But in a legacy system, there's brittle, hard-coded integrations. This is just plagues organizations that have legacy systems. So modern platforms, like I said, are API first. So that means that integrations across any digital platform is simple, configurable, fast. And when you're looking to layer on modern platforms to what you're already using, you can really realize benefit quickly here. Then we've got built-in analytics and personalization. So if you're working in an outdated system, the task of personalizing the experience a user has on your site tends to be a major undertaking. But modern platforms, they make this easy, quick, and meaningful, easy to test, easy to evolve. And then we have automated workflow and governance. So building workflows and governance around product data and data quality is critical and an effort that really can happen without ripping out your legacy systems. So if you're familiar with PIM, Product Information Management System, this serves as your single source of truth for product data. It allows you to ensure consistent, accurate data across your entire product catalog, and it allows you to publish your product data to all your sales channels really easily. So if you aren't leveraging a PIM today, I urge you to consider this. It's really an absolute game changer for organizations. So these are just examples of some of the sort of what we would consider zone A, low risk, high impact opportunities for improvement. And this is really, okay, the cost of inaction, right? It's the digital modernization effort. It isn't nothing, right? It's not nothing, as they say. It takes work. But it's critical that you understand the negative impact of inaction. And if you're trying to build a business case within your organization for a digital modernization initiative, these metrics that you see here you can use to begin quantifying the lost revenue that you'd see if you're remaining on outdated systems. So, modernization really isn't so much a nice to have, but it's more about protecting your revenue. That's what, these metrics can start to help you define. So, and they also allow you to set benchmarks, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Okay. So let's talk about an execution playbook. If you have your roadmap in place, you've chosen your platform, we know that execution hinges on strong governance, clear roles, and really rigorous change management. So I want to deepen your action plan with detailed steps, governance structures, change management best practices so you can keep your momentum high and your risk low, right? This is all about de-risking a modernization initiative. So we're going to walk through the executive playbook. So this is this is the framework that we use to help teams move from strategy, really into predictable, repeatable delivery. And ultimately that moves you into a full-scale transformation. And we break this into 3 stages. You've got plan, pilot, and scale. I do have to give you a little disclaimer. I think this slide is going to break every rule around creating presentation slides because you're going to see a lot of text here, but I wanted to give you something that you could reference back. This session, like I promised at the top of the hour, this isn't about theory and sort of high-level concepts and buzzwords. This is about actionable information that you can actually use. And so there's a lot of text on the slide. I hope you still find it valuable here. So the first step in the execution playbook is plan. So establishing a rhythm for sprints. So sprints is a development term for a time-boxed phase of work. So we like to work in 2 to 4 week sprints. And then we're constantly delivering value. Every 2 weeks, we're showing you what we built, we're showing you the improvements, you're testing it, and you're approving it. And this really helps establish momentum, accountability, transparency, all of that good stuff. And then you have the pilot phase. So testing with a small slice of the business, a product line, a region, a user group, measure, learn, refine, and validate that success before expanding. And then scaling. So once you've validated your pilot, this is when you can start to roll it out iteratively. So you've got automated deployments, you're migrating data, you're continually releasing new work across the organization, and you're monitoring that performance. So this plan, pilot, scale model is really how you avoid big bang failures and you continue to deliver value. You really want to deliver with clarity, you want to reduce risk, you want to control the testing, and you want to scale with confidence. So this is really a proven pattern that drives momentum and operational excellence across your digital initiatives. Any questions on this? That was a lot of information that I delivered quickly. I wanted to keep this to 30 minutes for you because once you get past 30 minutes, you've got stuff to do. You're all busy people. So wanted to keep this to 30 minutes. So I know I went through that quickly, but feel free to ask questions. I cannot stress this enough, and we've mentioned this before, but measure, 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 and iterate. So define your KPIs, share your wins, continuously iterate, communicate across the organization, communicate the wins. If you're looking at a long tail digital modernization project, it's so important that you set benchmarks early so that you can measure your ROI. That's what's necessary to continue to unlock investment. So if you're going to be, getting investment and you've got approval and you do a project, but you haven't measured it, it's really challenging to get the next stage approved. If you measure it and you're constantly iterating, you're constantly providing value, that's really going to help you do what you need to do to be successful. So what do you do next? I want to leave you with these important points because, technology, it's not going to transform your organization unless your organization is ready for transformation. So there's really 3 common traits that we see in successful modernization efforts. Building a cross-functional team and cross-functional alignment early. Modernization isn't an IT initiative. It's not a marketing initiative. It's not a product data initiative. It is an enterprise capability shift. And when you shift your mindset to that, it really, really de-risks the entire initiative. So teams that win, they're ensuring that IT, marketing, product management, engineering, sales, channel teams, they're all aligned on why modernization is happening and what outcomes matter. And this shared understanding dramatically accelerates decision-making. It removes friction during execution. It really is critical to your success. Next, you want to commit to a measurable, iterative approach. As manufacturers, you thrive on operational excellence, right? You have a production line that you're improving because you're measuring it, you're adjusting it, you're optimizing it continually. Digital modernization works the same way. And once you shift your mindset to that, you're really going to start to see some wins. So adopting that frequent time box delivery model, and that, I mentioned sprints, releasing value every few weeks, reducing project risk by making sure that you're aligned organizationally, spotting issues before you scale, and building that confidence across the whole organization. This is where that plan, pilot, scale model becomes really, really effective. So Lastly, fostering a culture that treats digital as a long-term capability, not a one-time project. This might feel like a subtle shift, but it really is a transformational one. So whether you're updating your CMS, your commerce platform, your product information platform, it's not launch and leave, right? The successful clients that we work with treat digital like a product, continually improve it, continually measure it, continually invest in increasing and expanding your capabilities, and continuously align with your customers' needs that are always evolving. And this mind shift is really where you start to see a ton of ROI from these initiatives. You're avoiding the pitfalls we talked about earlier, and you're really starting to see ROI that you can measure across the organization, and you can continue to grow. So if you, after listening to this, feel like you could benefit from digging in deeper and having a deeper conversation, I would be glad to talk to you about it, and happy to answer any questions that you have. Hopefully I didn't go through that too quickly, but I really wanted to be respectful of your time. But really happy to answer any questions that you have. If there's anything that we just talked about that you're curious about, you want to dig in deeper, happy to do that. So I'll open up the floor for questions. It was all perfectly clear. Everybody's got it. You can put them in the chat if you're shy. I do have a really detailed ebook that goes into some of these concepts even deeper. If anyone is interested in that, I'm happy to share that as a follow-up. And again, happy to have a conversation with you, like, just no expectation, no pressure, but if you're curious, like, hey, this is what we're dealing with, what should we do, or where do we start, or what would be a good first initiative, happy to have a chat with you about what that might look like.
All right, looks like we have a quiet group today.
Okay, if there's something in the chat, is there? Oh, feel free to ask questions. Got it. Okay.
Well, thank you for today. I just want to let everyone know you'll be presenting to us again on January 21st. That will be Marketing the Aftermath, Stop Profit Leak After the Sale, along with
Aftermarket, right? The aftermarket.
oh yes, Stop Profit Leak
Yeah,
After.
this is all about like when your aftermarket becomes an afterthought. And it is going to be a really valuable session. I hope.
Okay, and you're doing that presentation as Stephen
Yep, Stephen Peckus. Yep.
from
We'll
In
do
River.
a
Perfect.
presentation.
All right, well, thank you. I will be sending, I've recorded this webinar. I'll be sending it out to everyone who registered and have it up and available on our YouTube channel.
Great.
So, all right, well, thank you so much for your time, and we will be seeing you in January.
Sounds great. See you guys
Happy
then.
New Year, everyone. All
Happy
righty.
New Year.
All right.
Bye-bye.